from a deviance perspective, from a criminological perspective, women are perhaps even more dangerous. And I hate to say that because I don't want to be judged as a gender biased person because I am a man, but women can be potentially more dangerous in conning a man than a man could be on a woman, because I think women are far more intelligent. They have further reaches emotionally than a man does.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Dr. Alex, that yes, the men are targeted just as frequently, if not more frequently. It's just that there is an element of pride, of ego, of shame that makes it so that men don't want to admit that this happened, that they seem to be conned in different ways. So it oftentimes is more of the financial con of a woman who, will present themselves in a sexual way, give them attention, make them feel special, make them feel wanted. And sometimes the man might be in another relationship, and because of that, he doesn't want to admit that he was conned by a woman outside of the relationship. So it is extremely common for men to be rom-conned. We actually just had a man on the show, but it's just that men don't tend to admit it, or they disregard it of just, oh, it was, this B did this thing to me. And it's this hardened response of, this happened, but it's not a big deal. Or, I succumbed because of my hormones, and that's why I allowed myself to get manipulated by this woman, but it's really not a con. So there's a lot of rationalizing as to why they weren't conned, but the truth is that men are conned all the time, and very, very frequently, and very aggressively and intensely. It's just that it's a different type of. Women tend to be conned more emotionally and lethally and physically, whereas men conned sexually and financially.
But they're also conned at a shorter, in other words, a man can actually be, in terms of frequency, a con more frequently than a woman would, because they happen in such a short amount of time, right? So I've met, guys that I've worked with in the field and whatnot, that they've been conned 10, 15 times in the course of their lifetime when they were single dads, or they were, but they don't really tell you the story. They just say, oh yeah, man, that person was this and that, so I went on to somebody else. Oh boy, I know how to pick him. So they always pick it. They always kind of put themselves as the culprit, as opposed to I'm the victim, because as Laurel just said, it makes sense that men were socialized not to be victims, right?
Yeah.